The open ocean, once a realm of storms and pirates, has always been a place of mystery and danger. For centuries, it was the domain of adventurers, traders, and outlaws, a vast expanse where the rules of land rarely applied. But now, a new menace has emerged on these waters. The floating fortress, a threat unlike anything the world has seen before. These are not ordinary ships. They're mobile strongholds disguised as commercial vessels but packed with advanced surveillance technology, encrypted communications, and heavy weaponry hidden in plain sight. Floating fortresses can vanish into international waters, operating as command centers, secret prisons, and even offshore banks, all while maintaining a civilian facade that fools most observers. They linger for months at a time, monitoring shipping lanes, intercepting communications, coordinating illicit activities, and threatening the flow of global trade with their mere presence. The recent U.S. strike on an Iranian-linked fortress exposed this alarming evolution in naval warfare, revealing just how sophisticated and dangerous these vessels have become. Unlike traditional warships, these floating fortresses blur the line between civilian and military, thriving in ambiguity and making direct confrontation perilous for any navy. Their mobility and firepower create a lawless domain, bypassing borders and international norms, and allowing them to strike or disappear at will. From these bases, operators can launch attacks, direct proxies, smuggle contraband, and even hold entire economies hostage with the threat of disruption. The world now faces a maritime threat that demands new vigilance, international cooperation, and decisive action to counter this shadowy enemy. Floating fortresses are changing the rules of the sea, forcing nations to rethink security, intelligence, and the very nature of maritime law. The era of the ghost ship has arrived, and with it, a new chapter in the struggle for control over the world's oceans. The stakes have never been higher. Global commerce depends on safe, open seas, but floating fortresses threaten these vital arteries. Lurking in busy shipping lanes, they monitor, intimidate, and disrupt, turning routine voyages into high-risk undertakings. Their advanced surveillance enables hijackings, extortion, and targeted disruptions for political or economic gain. The recent neutralized fortress menaced a critical choke point, driving up insurance costs and forcing costly detours. These platforms seek to impose their own rules on international waters, undermining centuries-old principles of free navigation. If unchecked, they could fracture global trade and isolate entire regions. The threat is not just to ships, but to the entire system that keeps the world connected. Confronting this menace is essential for the security of every traveler and the stability of global supply chains. Allowing a floating fortress to operate freely in international waters is like ignoring a ticking time bomb at sea, a disaster waiting to happen. The Iranian-linked vessel was more than a passive threat. It was a mobile hub for terrorism, arms smuggling, and proxy warfare. Its presence was a clear and present danger. From international waters, it directed attacks and funneled resources to destabilize the region, all while hiding behind plausible deniability. This made it a ghostly menace, hard to pin down, but ever-threatening. Intelligence revealed it was plotting attacks on commercial and naval vessels, posing a direct risk to lives and the global economy. The stakes were incredibly high. Hostages of various nationalities were held aboard, their lives used as leverage and human shields. The human cost was unbearable. The risk of a sudden attack or environmental disaster was unacceptably high. The potential for catastrophic damage was immense. Every moment of inaction meant continued suffering for the captives and growing danger for the world. The clock was ticking, and the urgency was palpable. The combination of terrorism, maritime threat, and humanitarian crisis made decisive action unavoidable. The world had to act, and it had to act now. Neutralizing the fortress was not just strategic, it was a moral imperative. The mission was clear, and the resolve was unwavering. The operation aimed to defuse a global time bomb before it could detonate. The stakes were nothing less than global security. The world could not afford to wait. The time for action was now. Taking down a floating fortress is a high-stakes, complex mission, one that demands flawless execution and unwavering resolve from every participant involved. The U.S. strike combined formidable naval assets, overwhelming air power, and elite special operations forces in a meticulously planned assault, where every detail was scrutinized and rehearsed. Under cover of darkness, Navy destroyers moved into position, isolating the target vessel. Meanwhile, military aircraft jammed enemy communications, sowing chaos and confusion among the defenders and cutting them off from outside help. Navy SEALs, experts in maritime interdiction and hostage rescue, descended onto the ship with speed and precision, their movements honed by years of rigorous training and real-world experience. Navigating the ship's labyrinthine corridors, the SEALs neutralized resistance and secured hostages, all while being guided by real-time intelligence streaming in from surveillance assets and command centers. The operation's success depended on perfect coordination, blockade, air cover, and direct action working seamlessly in unison, with every team member knowing their role and adapting to the evolving situation. It was a showcase of modern naval power, swift, precise, and overwhelming. The sheer speed and force of the strike left little room for the enemy to react. The strike demonstrated the U.S. Navy's unmatched ability to project force and enforce international law anywhere on the seas, sending a clear message to allies and adversaries alike. This was more than a battle. It was a statement of resolve against unconventional threats, and a testament to the professionalism and adaptability of the modern military. The mission's complexity underscored the evolving nature of maritime warfare, where technology, intelligence, and human skill must come together to meet new and unpredictable challenges on the world's oceans. As the assault ended, the rescue began. Deep inside the fortress, U.S. forces found 42 hostages, men and women from around the world, held in grim conditions. Some were hijacked crew members, others kidnapped for ransom or leverage. Their captivity was marked by fear, deprivation, and uncertainty. The rescue was a delicate operation, requiring immediate medical care and careful evacuation. All 42 were freed without casualties, a profound victory and a testament to the mission's humanitarian purpose. For the rescue, it was the end of a nightmare. For the world, a reminder that justice can prevail even in lawless waters. The operation transformed a military strike into an act of liberation. The raid uncovered more than hostages and weapons. It exposed the fortress's financial engine. U.S. forces seized $450 million in cash, a war chest fueling global illicit operations. This was no pirate loot, it was capital for arms, bribes, and proxy warfare. Cutting off these funds dealt a crippling blow to the network's reach and power. The seizure disrupted terrorist financing and exposed the deep ties between state aggression and organized crime. Financial warfare can be as decisive as military action, undermining the enemy's foundation. The cash was a tool of shadowy foreign policy. Now, it's evidence of criminality. By seizing it, the U.S. struck at the heart of a global threat. The strike sent shockwaves through governments and the shipping industry, forcing a rethink of maritime security. Floating fortresses demand new protocols, stronger naval presence, and unprecedented international cooperation. Shipping companies must invest in better security and closer coordination with naval forces. Insurance costs will rise, but so will vigilance and preparedness. No nation can police the oceans alone. Alliances and joint task forces are now essential. The U.S. Navy's leadership is vital, but global security depends on united action. The operation set a precedent. No rogue fortress is beyond the reach of law. The threat remains, but so does the resolve to confront it. The future of safe seas depends on constant vigilance and collaboration. The term fortress has long symbolized power and resilience, from W. Thon's flying fortress bombers to today's floating strongholds. The B-17s projected power from the skies. Now, rogue vessels projected across the seas. Both are self-sufficient, heavily armed, and built for hostile environments. The recent U.S. strike echoes the strategic imperative of those historic bombing raids: neutralize threats that can't be ignored. Today's naval forces must adapt, just as aircrews once did, to confront evolving dangers. U.S. aircraft carriers are lawful floating fortresses, maintaining peace. Rogue fortresses seek to undermine it. The parallel reminds us that vigilance and innovation are timeless necessities. The courage of WE-2 pilots is mirrored by modern special operators. Bold action remains essential to counter formidable threats. The legacy of the flying fortress lives on in today's fight for maritime security. The strike on the floating fortress reaffirms the U.S. Navy's enduring mission: safeguard the seas and uphold global stability. As the Navy marks its 250th anniversary, this operation highlights its relevance in a changing world. The dual role of naval power, peacekeeper and warfighter, remains vital. With rising concerns over shipbuilding and global competition, the U.S. is investing in smarter, more capable fleets. Future security will depend on adapting to unconventional threats, like floating fortresses. Intelligence, special operations, and cyber capabilities are as crucial as warships. The takedown rescued hostages, seized criminal funds, and eliminated a grave threat. It was a demonstration of strength and commitment to a rules-based order. The mission to keep the seas free is perpetual, demanding vigilance, innovation, and courage. The lessons of this operation will shape naval strategy for years to come.